the next governor. The next governor of the state of Florida. What's up?
You want to?
I'm just your hype man. I'm the hype man. I stand in the back. I wear the gold chain. He's the man.
You don't have a gold chain.
We're working on it.
Come on, let's take a seat. How's everybody doing?
How about this, Byron? We'll have a gold chain when you end property taxes in Florida, right? Yes. You'll have to forgive me. About 30 minutes ago, I was on a water slide with my 4-year-old, and I still have chlorinated water in my ears. So, what's up? How we doing? How we feel in Orlando? And isn't that the point, right?
Yeah.
The point is kids. You have 3 sons.
3 of them.
You have 3 boys.
Yep.
I have 4 babies. I moved to Florida, and I moved to Florida 4 years ago, and we've had a baby every single year. How about that?
So obviously it's in the water.
Yeah.
It's definitely in the water.
Can we start off the top of the dome with that? Because I feel like it's a family-friendly audience here, right? People love children, grandchildren, parents or anybody who's a parent or a grandparent out there? Any young people who want to be parents?
Oh, we got one guy in the back. One.
Hey, I feel you.
One.
Listen, I'm telling you, that's the most important thing in life, right? Like a culture of life and a state that protects it. So how are we going to protect our children in this fine state? How are we going to encourage more great patriots and families in the state of Florida?
Well, it's a great question. I think the first piece is we take law and order seriously. You want to have great patriots who are young people who grow up to take the reins of leadership in our state, whether that's our government, whether that's our economy. It starts with law enforcement. It starts with safe communities. Second piece is education, and that's actually how I got into politics. Erica and I got in. It was really about education. I remember our oldest son, who's now 21, college graduate, killing it, doing his thing in finance, starting out his career. He came home one day and he was doing math homework. Now, I'm a finance major. My wife is an accounting major. We know math. It's a thing. We're watching him do his homework, and I'm in the kitchen, I'm milling around, and he's kind of frustrated, and I look over his shoulder, and I'm like, what is this? And he says, well, I think he was doing long division. He's doing long division. And I said, that's not how you do long division. I don't know what this is. And he goes, this is how they're teaching us to do it. And I said, okay, well, I don't care what they're teaching you. This is wrong. And he was like, he's getting mad, and understandable. He's trying to do what his teachers are telling him to do. He's getting mad. I'm now upset. And I said to him, I go, son, I hire people. If you did math like this in my company, you're fired. We're not doing this. And so that's what started the political journey. So the second piece is education. Our children have to not just know our history and know the facts of just basic economics, but they have to be proficient in reading, in math, so that they have an ability to use, their God-given intelligence coupled with the right things that they are learning in school, so they're prepared for the leadership of the future. The last thing is culture and political philosophy. I think as a party, it was said earlier on the stage, I forget which panel, that as a party, we have figured out what our philosophy is, and we believe that our philosophy, a conservative philosophy, is the very best thing when you're organizing a community, a city, a state, or a country. And for the future of our state, the future of Florida, it's about making sure that philosophy is being taught to our kids so that when they mature and they become adults and they can use the Socratic method, they can use their God-given talents, they will see very clearly what you and I already see, that conservatism is the pathway for a great state like Florida. It's the pathway for sound communities, and that's how you lead into the future.
Did anybody just notice that, what he did? He's been spending so much time with Trump. He just pulled a, you're fired. Did you hear that? Did you hear him do it? Can you do it? I'm sure you got a good Trump impression.
No, actually, I have a terrible Trump impression. I can't do it.
Really?
No, I can't do it. I can't do it, and I never tried because that's him and that's not me.
Yeah.
Speaker Johnson does a great Trump impression. I'll give it to Speaker Johnson.
I won't
His
ask
is
you your
top-notch.
Speaker Johnson impression. I'm not going to get you in trouble.
I will not do that.
You're homies with Donald Trump. You and Trump
I've
go
never
back.
heard anybody say we're homies
You're
before.
homies with Trump.
That's a new one, but okay.
I'm allowed to culturally appropriate. I live in Tampa. I don't know. So you're homies with Trump. I live in a Cuban neighborhood. I can say homie. What up, my Cubans? I'm not Cuban, but yes.
The Cubans are right there.
I got Cuban bread. Who's got the Cuban bread in Tampa? So there's this like one guy that knows the Cuban bread. He's right here. Yes, that's exactly right. He's like, yes, my man. Robert makes the Cuban bread. That's exactly. Everyone knows Robert, the Cuban bread. Okay, sorry, we're getting wildly off track here. You're so close with Trump. You were a surrogate on the campaign. You spoke in Milwaukee. Everyone was proud watching him speak at the RNC convention, right? President Trump, the most seen miracle in human history, him surviving that assassin's bullet, and you spoke that same night with him, and he had the ear bandage and everything. It's powerful. Right. What's your relationship like with him? How do you make Florida great again? Or how do you take MAGA to Florida level? How do you continue those Trump policies here, state level? He's endorsed you. Obviously, we all have seen that. You're the Trump-endorsed candidate for governor. Here we go.
So, look, first thing I would say, Florida is the best state in the country. We are the best state in the country. And look, I say it often on the campaign trail, a lot of the credit for where we are as a state does go to Governor DeSantis. He's done a tremendous job leading the state. He really has. I guess I would say the thing that we share, we've both been endorsed by President Trump to be governor of Florida, so that's actually really cool. But I will tell you that when it comes to the president, he's just no nonsense. With him, it's what's the vision, what's the goal, okay, go do that. And so when we were on the campaign trail together, what you would see very quickly is he is going to do everything necessary to win. It doesn't matter what the obstacles are. It doesn't matter how long you're on the plane. It doesn't matter how many motorcades you're in, how many speeches you give, how many people you see, how many photos you take. All of that is irrelevant. Every piece of energy, every second of time is devoted to success, devoted to victory. And so when you're on the campaign trail with him, there's no excuse. You can't be like, oh, I'm tired, I'm not feeling good today, because he's at it every single day. And so, you know, a bunch of us who did a lot of heavy lifting, we're like, we don't have an excuse. Like, he's 78 and he's rolling. Like, we have no excuses. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, I would say, when it comes to the president, is he just wants you to be yourself. I think he realizes when, I think, people in politics are trying to, like, be him as opposed to them just being themselves. I think that's one of the reasons why he and JD get along so well. Because if you watch JD, JD is JD. Like, JD is not trying to be Donald Trump, he's himself. I think the president fully respects that. Third thing is, you got to have no fear. No fear at all. I remember it didn't matter what the room was, whether it was doing the Breakfast Club in New York City, whether it was going on CNN, going on MSNBC. The thing he wants to see really out of our entire movement is we cannot have any fear. We have to fight, fight, fight. And if he knows that you have no fear, you and him will get along. It'll be pretty seamless. And look, at the end of the day, you gotta be fun. You gotta have a good sense of humor. You know, he does like people who look like central casting. That's his deal. He loves that. You know, but that's him. But at the end of the day, it's about the mission. And from Butler, I will tell you that night, Monday night of the convention, I didn't expect him to come out that night, and I don't think anybody did. I was in the green room. I had given my speech at the convention, and that was an amazing experience. I will say it was one of the great honors of my life, because when my wife and I started in politics 15, 16 years ago, never did we think I would be speaking at the convention. That was never something that ever occurred to me, because I was an activist. I'm a Tea Party guy. So I was a door knocker, a phone caller. I was a guy helping people win races. I'm a guy that was involved in some of the activist things that you do on a local level. We're fighting for better choices in education, which at the time it was getting rid of Common Core. That was the fight at the time, and you're involved in that on the ground. So never did I think it was going to transform into 7 minutes on stage at the RNC. That was really wild. The thing I really didn't see coming was when they told me earlier in the day, you're going to sit in the president's box. And so, listen, I'm a regular person. So when you hear you're going to be in somebody's box, you're thinking, oh, cool, I'm going to be in the skybox. Tell me what room it is. That's a real honor. I'm going to go up to his skybox and sit there. And they were like, no, you're going to be sitting in his box. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well, whatever. We'll figure that out. So when I'm done speaking, I'm in the tunnel, and out comes one of the advanced guys that was on the campaign. I know him very well. And he goes, man, that was a great speech. We were just watching it. The boss is inside. Just go in and say hi to him. Okay, so I go inside, and Susie Wiles, who everybody will see later tonight, and a couple of the key campaign people were in the room, and the president's on the phone, and he's kind of on the phone like this. He's like this, and of course, this is the year, so he's like this, and he's on the phone, and he's talking, and he sees me, and he's like, wait 1 second, and he gets off the phone, and he's like, Byron, that was a great speech. And he turns to me, and I see the bandage. And the second thing is, what do you think of the bandage? This is him. This is who he is, man.
What did you say?
I said, I don't like it. Take it off.
That's what you told
That's what I
president?
said. I said, I don't like it. Take it off.
No.
I said, let everybody see the year. He was like, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But the docs, they want me to keep the bandage on. Doc Ronnie Jackson, my colleague from Texas, Doc Ronnie. He's like, Doc Ronnie says I got to wear the bandage. I'm like, so what? You're the president. Just take the thing off. And he goes, no, I think I'm going to keep it on. And it was good. He was like, that was a good speech. And I said, thank you. And he goes, I'll see you later. I'm like, okay. So they escort me out, and I'm going through the tunnels, and I'm thinking I'm going to go up to the elevator to go to the box. And they're like, no, sir, you're going to walk down this way. So I'm walking down the rampway in the tunnels, and the carpet turns red. And I'm like, well, why is the carpet red? And then I walk out, and it's like the sea of cameras, and you realize you're on the arena floor. And then on the arena floor, they're like, all right, come on, sir, we're going to walk up these steps right here. And I'm like, but this box is in the top of the arena. That's where we got to go. And then they go, no, sir, this is where you're sitting. And I walk out, and you see the chairs, and I'm like, oh, shoot, this is a great seat. I was like, so maybe I'm like 3 levels up, I'm sitting up there, with one of the guys up there. And they go, all right, here's your seat. And I'm sitting in the front row, and I'm like, oh, this is a great seat. And I look on the floor, and on the floor on the masking tape, it said DJT. And they're like, yeah, this is your seat. And I'm like, oh, man, so many people are going to be mad. They're going to be mad, but this is great. This is great. So while everybody's still doing their speeches and stuff, David Sachs, who's the president's czar on digital assets and crypto, he was sitting in row 3, and he comes down, and he's sitting next to me. And we were talking, and then he started to check his messages, and I'm checking mine because you've been running all day during the convention. And after about 5 minutes, I'm like kind of looking over at David like, you got to get up. That's DJT. I love you, David, but you can't sit here. That's his seat. And it was great that when he came out that night. I got to tell you, for me it was epic to see the response from everybody in the arena. If you were in Milwaukee, you know what I'm talking about. That night was like nothing. It was like nothing you could really put together. I think because the country got a chance to see not just the fighter, Donald Trump, but I think, I'll say to this day, I think the country got a chance to see Donald. And in that moment, I think he connected with the American people, they connected with him, and then that campaign went off to a whole nother level.
Yes, that's right. That was the moment. Everybody remembers the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers the moment. Where were you when you heard Trump was shot? You'll remember that for the rest of your life, right? Yeah. It's spiritual. We're fighting a spiritual battle. Unpack that for me really quickly. Everyone got to see actually Donald. What does that mean? Well, the country got to see Donald, you just said. Yeah. What does that mean to you?
I think in that moment, he, like anybody would, I guess, but I think he kind of understood the magnitude of what this campaign was about. And I mean, look, he's been persecuted more than any modern politician, probably since Nixon. if we're going to be honest. Like, he's been persecuted and
More
probably
so, but
more
yeah.
than Nixon. Whether it's the indictments, the impeachments, the investigations, now we're realizing just how disgusting the Democrats are and how they manipulated the intelligence community just because they couldn't take losing. I'll leave that for a moment. But through all of that, you know, he's had this resolve of, oh, you're coming at me? Well, I'm going to come back at you twice as hard. And that's really his resolve. I think Butler, literally, when he just turned his head just like a little bit more to see the chart, you come face to face with your mortality. And I think even in that instance, it wasn't just Donald J. Trump and I approve this message. It was, I'm Donald. I have kids. I have grandkids. I love this country. You know, he loves New York. He loves America. He wants to see the best. And I think that the aftermath of Butler, I think, gave the American people an opportunity to see him. And I think it gave him, I think, an ability to kind of just to pull a layer back and see the core man. Like when Kai went to speak, that was tremendous. You see him, I was at Daytona Motor Speedway when the other day, a couple months ago, when he brought his granddaughter out on the track, and she's in her ruby red shoes, and you can see, like, man, he's a grandfather. He loves his family. He wants what's best for the country. And I think that after Butler, where most people in politics would have probably tried to shy away or really hidden themselves from the public, he actually expanded that. And it wasn't rhetoric. It was just him. And I think that's how that connection with the American people really became stronger throughout the end of the campaign.
Yes. Who is thankful, let's do a poll here really quickly, who is thankful that 10 miles down the road here, we could all go buy a ticket, and I did this actually yesterday, and go see, in a experience called the Hall of Presidents, a beautifully robotic Donald Trump stand up and deliver the oath of office instead of a robotic Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton at Disney World. I am very thankful for that.
Me too.
And my kids think that's actually Donald Trump in the ride, and they think that's where Trump lives, in Disney World. I have the video to prove it.
Don't tempt him. He might take over the Hall of Presidents. Don't tempt him.
There's something, if you actually go, there's something amazing. Disney actually did the 2 thumbs up. Watch carefully. They had the Trump go like this. the Robo-Trump actually does 2 thumbs up. It's amazing. What a state, man. And Disney, I don't think, would ever do that unless they sort of got put in their place. And Florida's been doing a lot of that. Florida's been doing a lot of that. How are you going to continue that fight to de-wokeify the state? Because it was a little touch and go there, right? Disney fought back. Disney said, no way, the state of Florida's we're going to do what we're going to do. And boy, they were put down.
Well, the governor laid the mantle down very clear. You can run your business all you want, but if you interfere with the political decisions of Florida and the legislative decisions of Florida, then we're going to have to come and take a hard, long look at you. And that's not going to change, by the way. We have no problem with companies choosing our state, being a part of the fabric of our state, running their enterprises. We want to grow that in our state. We want more jobs coming here. We want an even more vibrant economy than where we stand today. But there is going to be a clear dividing line, and that is the legislative and political matters of our state are going to reside with the governor and with the state legislature, and they're not going to be up for discussion with corporate America. It's just the way it is.
Good. Strong leader. So you said Florida is the most free state in the union, and there was a challenge against that recently. If you want to piss off a group of people, say that to a Texan. Texas has decided to go redistrict.
Yeah.
Anybody see this? So Texas added 5 new congressional seats for Republicans. And they said, yippee-ki-yay, you can try and stop us. And my question to you is, there is a debate as to whether Florida should attempt to do the same. You currently are a member of Congress. What's your take on that?
So you're not going to like this answer, but as a member of Congress, I do not engage in redistricting conversations.
Yep.
And the reason why, to be blunt, is I don't want to be in a redistricting lawsuit.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it.
Got it.
So what I would say to the governor and to my colleagues in the legislature, I believe that you should always be looking at the makeup of congressional districts to make sure they're representative of the people of Florida. I will leave it at that.
All right. Here's the trump card for whether Florida or Texas is a better state. Only one state has...
Oh, wait.
Yeah, please.
I forgot to talk about Texas for a moment.
Please. Okay, go in, Governor.
I love my colleagues in Texas. I know a lot of them. Great state. It's awesome that they're number 2. It is awesome. And my Vivek Ramaswamy, he's a good friend. Vivek and I really, started developing a relationship through the campaign. And he's running for governor of Ohio, crushing it, doing a tremendous job. He's going to be the next governor of Ohio, and we're really excited for him. But Vivek said that, we're going to make Ohio the best state in the country. And I looked at him and I go, number 2 is a great goal. Great goal. But Florida's number 1.
Yeah.
That is not going to change.
If you want to end this argument immediately, there's only one state that sends Jasmine Crockett to Congress. Is that true? Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
But you just went there, man.
Oh,
you just went there. You went there with Jasmine.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy.
Well, you got to work with her every day. How's that going? You gonna be in one of those TikToks? You gonna be dancing down the hallway?
No.
Kendrick?
No. We're not gonna be dancing down the hallway.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, look, I feel bad for the Dems. I don't, to be honest with you. But this is what happens when your party becomes about ideas and policies that people just simply cannot support. When you do crazy things like say that boys can be in girls' sports, that is insanity. People don't support that.
Yes.
When you don't protect the puberty of young kids, like puberty, this is human biology. If you can't protect that as a political party, then you don't deserve political power.
Yeah.
Period.
Well done.
And so, I would say as a party, what has separated us from the Democrats is, despite all the political machinations that have gone on over the last several decades in the United States, we have been committed to our core philosophy. We are a party that is a believer in the United States Constitution, making sure that the Constitution is actually followed. We protect individual liberties. We protect individual rights. We protect your economic liberty. And we will always make sure we protect your freedom of speech. We are not going to be people who are going to try to shout you down or shut you up or shadow ban you or use the government, whether it's Operation Choke Point 1.0 or 2.0, to sideline you. We believe in the freedom and the merit and the ability of all people. That is what our party is. If the Democrats want to continue down the road they're going to continue down, then they're going to look like, as a national party, they're going to look like the Florida Democrat Party, which means they will be nowhere fast.
So what you're saying, Congressman, is they'll look like a bunch of communists.
I mean,
and
that's that
begs
New York thing.
That begs the question, because you're running against an MSNBC contributor named David Jolly.
Oh.
And David Jolly has got his jollies up for a guy named Zoran Mandami. He's a big fan of his policies, or his prescribed policies for the city of New York. Yeah. He's been on MSNBC talking about it, and he's been talking about how David Jolly, who's running for governor in this state as a Democrat, may want to bring some of those Zoran Mandami AOC policies to the state of Florida. He's running on that as a platform. So government-run grocery stores, seizure of wealth, defunding the police, taxing people more because they're white. That's on his website, by the way. People think I'm crazy when I say that. It's on the website.
It's on the website.
Got in a fight with Chris Cuomo over that this week. They want to bring that to the state of Florida. Is that going to fly, Congressman?
No chance in hell. No. That was it.
That's it? Okay.
Nothing else to say.
Easy. Put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a bumper sticker. I'll slap it on my minivan.
Wait, you're going to put that on the minivan?
No chance in hell for the Democrats in Florida. Yeah, I mean, we're going to workshop it.
All right, we'll clean it up.
Okay. So how do you though through policy?
Right.
And I think that this is something that we've talked about. You want to make Florida the financial capital of the world.
Yes.
You want to swagger jack New York, don't you?
Of course.
You want to take from New York.
Yes.
And
Chicago too, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So two questions. How do you preserve the culture of Florida while doing that? Everybody can see what's happening in Miami.
Right.
Everyone can see what's happening even in Tampa, like the incredible amount of wealth and incredible amount of movement and culture and business and commerce that's coming down to Florida. That's all coming from Chicago's and LA's and New York. How do you preserve the culture of Florida? How do you ensure that we are the financial capital of the world for the next generation?
So let me take the culture piece first.
Please.
That part is about your leadership being consistent on conservative policy. And then as we campaign, we're not just talking to each other in our own rooms. Like, look, I love coming to the RPOF. I love it. You guys are the people that make our party work. We are a red state because of all the work you guys have done over the decades in support of this party. But as we continue this thing, it's about going into every community in our state, helping them to understand that the reason why their cousins and their aunts are moving to Florida, as much as they love you, it's about the policies that we have here. It's about the freedoms that we have here. It's about public safety first and foremost. It's about school choice in our state. It's about making sure kids are getting ahead and becoming economically viable. It's about making sure that we're not just growing government for the sake of growing government, that we're being smart and efficient with the money of the people of Florida. And if you, seriously, and if your desire is to have some bloated government, then that's not Florida. And we are not going to bring that to our state. The number one reason why people come here, one of the main reasons, oh man, no state income tax. Well, guess what? We're never going to have an income tax in our state. That is not going to happen in our state. The gender studies craziness that so many of these schools around in the Northeast have embraced, we are not embracing that in Florida. That is not going to happen here. If you want to talk about our university system, we have the best university system in the country, I would say in the world, here in Florida. The reason why we are focused on academics, not ideology. That's what we're focused on. We're not going to be indoctrinating students. And so that's how you prepare the culture of your state for the future of your state. While, yes, taking a bunch of corporate interests and financial interests from New York and Chicago. The reason why those people are leaving is because they're looking at the cities that have basically fallen down all around them. And they're saying to themselves, why am I still here when I can be in Florida, actually have a better life for myself, have a better life for my family, have a better life for my employees, and still accomplish the mission of the company? So that's the trend line that's happening in the United States. And Florida's leading that. Tennessee is right there with us. Texas is right there with us. Vivek wants to do the same in Ohio. God bless them. We should do that. Our mission as Republicans, and this is even bigger than Florida, is to continue to demonstrate that Republican conservative policies are how you run and organize states. And that's what people will choose. Now, to the financial capital piece. Digital assets is going to make a home, it already has, and it's going to be a much bigger home in South Florida, in Miami, in some parts in Tampa as well. Some of it is in Orlando, some of it obviously is in Jacksonville. That's going to continue. This is the future of America's economy. When you want to raise capital, anybody who's started a business, and you're trying to go around and raise capital, a lot of times you have to go to New York, you go to Chicago, a lot of it's done here now, or you have to go out west to Los Angeles. Why would we even have to subject the very capital flow of our country to these states that are disastrous of the free will of the people that live there? They should do that here in Florida, so that when you have the flow of capital moving through our state, and then you have freedom and liberty and a respect for that and a protection of that in our government, that demonstrates to the entire country the best model for self-governance. So that's why we want that to come here. But it's even grown past that. About an hour east of here, we have Kennedy Space Center. We are doing all of the launches in Florida. SpaceX is actually trying to move a bunch of their facility to Florida. In our state, we can build out more tech hubs. We can actually become the new center of the tech industry here in Florida. I call it Silicon Beach. But when you talk to the tech guys out in California, they're tired. They're sick of California. And it is so far gone, they just want out. And so now let me bring it back to center, because how do we stay the red state? This is where you and I then work together. Part of it is winning elections. David Jolly, I mean, yeah. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. That's not going to go well.
David Jolly said he wants to confiscate guns. Is that going to happen in the state of Florida? Okay.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not going to happen. But let me tell you what can happen and what will happen. As long as we are focused on the work, day in, day out, registering voters, knocking doors, calling neighbors, talking about our principles and being proud of them. Having leaders who not only can give a good speech, but know the details and know how it all comes together, who are constantly looking at the policy elements of everything we do, so that when we launch new initiatives, even Democrats, registered voting Democrats, not the Democrat Party, even registered voting Democrats in our state would have to take a step back and say, damn, you know what, these Republicans are right, that's good stuff. Like, that's where we need to go. Last thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna turn it back to you. The infighting amongst Republicans. Listen, man, we cannot fight amongst ourselves in this moment. We can't. The wind is at our back. 1.3, 1.4 million voter advantage in the state of Florida. We are winning. And the only way you stop winning is when we start fighting each other, because this person wants to be in charge, or that person wants to be in charge, or I want my committee, or you can't have your committee, or how come these people are sitting in this room and I'm not there? At the end of the day, as somebody who's traveled the country for President Trump, and I've been everywhere, there are other states who are dying to be in our position here in Florida. And we need to always remember that. We need to stay united. President Trump talks about this all the time. Stay united and keep winning. We need to stay united and we need to keep winning.
So this one's going to have to be a quick one.
Sure.
Alligator Alcatraz.
I saw some of the T-shirts. The T-shirts and the hats are here.
Somebody have an Alligator Alcatraz T-shirt on?
Yeah, I saw one guy with it last night. A guy today had the hat on. I saw him earlier today.
As somebody, there
we go, right there.
Yeah. That's my mother, actually. So she hopes you'll sign it.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks,
Mom. We love you.
As somebody who moved here, I had no idea that that's what you Floridians were doing when you were doing this. I had no. I didn't know that was the Alligator Alcatraz. Okay. I only ask because Congressman, you talked about Trump's agenda, and you were critical in passing the One Big Beautiful Bill. Yeah. That's the single largest funding of border security in the country's history.
Right.
I think that ICE is now like the third largest military in the world. I'm okay with that. That's what I voted for. Thank you. And you were with the president at Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Florida is seen as the marquee state for enforcement against criminal aliens with the assistance of the administration and working hand in glove with DHS.
Right.
Is this going to be something that you carry forward into your administration? Will Florida ever be a sanctuary state?
One, Florida will never be a sanctuary state. That's craziness. Absolutely crazy. That's never going to happen. And we're not even going to allow or tolerate, and again, this is where the governor has been tremendous, we're not tolerating any jurisdiction within the state of Florida that's going to think that they're going to be a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's not going to happen. It's just simply not. Will Alligator Alcatraz remain? That actually remains to be seen. And that's really going to depend on how quickly ICE can get ramped up with the repatriation force, as I like to call it. We're going to repatriate a lot of people back to their home countries. And it's going to be a great thing. So it's going to be a facility where it can be there or not be there. The key thing is all of our law enforcement agencies will continue to comply with 287G. They will be working with ICE so that when we come across criminal illegal aliens, they are handed over. I think with Alligator Alcatraz, the reason why that facility was so critical at this current point in time, what most people don't know is a lot of our county jails were full. Actually, they're all full. And so there had to be a release valve where our sheriffs and our officers, they can still go out and do the job of getting criminal illegals off our streets, but then they're housed somewhere for ICE to come and pick them up and take them out of the country. Passing one big beautiful bill, we had $150 billion in that bill to complete the wall and to stand up ICE with all the resources it needs to fulfill the mission that the American people gave Donald Trump of deporting illegal aliens out of America. And so as it goes, as it continues to evolve, we'll see if we'll need an Alligator Alcatraz. My hope is, and my sincere hope is that after we've gone through this last victory in the country about illegal immigration, that the Democrats decide to change course and make sure that border security is non-negotiable here in the United States, and that we secure our country once and for all. And as long as we do that, then you may not need a facility like Alligator Alcatraz. We'll have a sound immigration system that we police, that we manage, that even, God forbid, a Democrat might win the White House in the future, even that future potential Democrat would understand and learn the lessons that you cannot open the borders of this nation. You cannot abuse the American people with rampant illegal immigration. It is a detriment to every community that we love in our country. It's a detriment to everybody. My hope is that's where we end up going forward in the United States. But I will tell you, it's going to be part my job and a lot of my friends and colleagues to continue to press that envelope so that the Democrats know once and for all that you don't get to live your open borders, wet dream on the backs of the American people.
Yes. I know that we are out of time, but to everyone running the show, a point of personal privilege very, very quickly. And I know that we are up against the wall here. We have a streaming show and a podcast. It's called The Benny Show. And there was a scandal that happened in this state. One of the worst things I've ever heard in my life and the greatest abuse of government I've ever seen in my life, when people who were suffering from a hurricane, Hurricane Helene, had rolled through here and destroyed lives, and FEMA came through and saw trailers that had Trump signs in front of them and refused to give those Floridians assistance because these poor individuals with their homes that had already been destroyed had a Trump flag waving in their humble yard. It was one of the sickest things I've ever seen. And here's the very quick story I have for you. You book out the show and you try and get people to talk. Some subjects everyone wants to run on and talk about. Some subjects they don't. There was only one man in Congress that you could book to come tearing through like a bull in a china shop on this issue, and it was Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds went on a warpath for the people of Florida against FEMA at a time when we didn't know who'd be the next president, we didn't know who'd be the next administration, and he threw down, and he changed the culture there. And so my final, very brief question to you is, how do you continue that work as governor, standing up for the people of Florida? What's your vision?
When stuff is going wrong, you call it out for what it is, and you can't be afraid of that. So much in our politics can actually be shifted when people just speak very clearly about what's going wrong. With FEMA, it was because they were discriminating against Trump supporters, and that's just not acceptable. And so you have to be willing to call that out. I would tell you, there's things back in my district from Hurricane Ian where FEMA was slow to respond, and I basically would give them an ultimatum. My staff would tell you. I would say, I can either start tweeting about this or you can fix it. And they were like, oh, sir, we don't need you to tweet about it. I said, I can start tweeting or you can fix it. And they're like, well, we'll give you an update tomorrow. We have everything covered. Thank you very much. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to stand strong and call out what's going on that's wrong, all you're allowing that to happen is it's just going to continue. And so, as long as I've been in politics, I don't have a problem calling out what I see. Whether it's, I miss Joy Reid.
You're the only one. I heard there was one guy who missed Joy Reid.
Now watch, somebody's going to clip that and be like, see, I told you. But anyway.
Got him.
But I have no problem doing that. I never really had a problem doing it. I'm very comfortable in my skin. So if I think something is wrong, you're going to hear from me. And sometimes we're fixing it without me having to say a word about it. And that might be the best thing at that particular point in time.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, strong leadership in your governor's office. Can we show the world right here that we support